test, mic test.
Oh, testing, testing, testing. Hello. Okay. Good afternoon. Hi, good afternoon, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen. Hello. Yeah. You can hear me well? Okay, great. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody, esteemed guests, and ladies and gentlemen. I would like to extend a very, very warm welcome to you all. My name, if you don't know me by now, my name is Sonia Sodi, and I'm the Director of Digital Platforms for FCCI. And I'll be the master of ceremony for you for today's conference. And later, my colleague Vedashri will be taking over for the second part. It is my distinct pleasure to extend a warm welcome to you and to gather for this 11th Indian Diaspora Conference 2023, organized jointly by FIDE and FCCI. During this event, we will delve into invaluable contributions of Indian diaspora in India's success story and explore the shared challenges we encountered in the Netherlands. We are deeply honored to have distinguished guests and assembly of guests here, which ranges from policymakers and visionary thinkers. We have an engaging program awaiting you, and you all have that in the agenda, which is in the folders in front of you. As you could see, the conference is divided into two parts. The first part theme is on Indian diaspora partner in the success story of India. And the second part will be actually, after intermission, it will have a panel discussion. And I would suggest that please do not hesitate to ask questions and be part of this interactive discussion. With that, I give to Mr. Jasbir Singh, who is the President, Foundation for Critical Choices of India, and Founder President of the Foundation for Indian Diaspora in Europe, on stage to give a welcome address. Welcome, Mr. Jasbir.
Friends, is it okay? Yeah. Well, something before I start my welcome address about FCCI. As a principle, we don't wait. The time is for us precious. Even if there are dignitaries coming late, I just spoke to our ambassador and told her, I had informed her that this is unlike many other organizations. When there is a function organized by Foundation for Critical Choices in India, then we have to be punctual, because we have kind of some see us as role models. So with those words, so some dignitaries will arrive later, including our own ambassador, but we'll start on time. Of course, that as Master of Ceremony, Ms. Sodi said, we have two sessions. I will talk about that little later. First, feel honored to have among us SPOSA Prize awardee Professor Joyita Gupta and member of Upper House of the Dutch Parliament, Dr. Aarti Ramsudit, among us. Oh, my goodness. So, thank you very much. I was just saying that you have to excuse us for this behavior, but this is FCCI and we try to be punctual. But grateful. She was supposed to come much later, so that was we started if we knew that you would come. So, Excellency, Madam Ambassador Rina Sandhu, and I already mentioned Professor Jyoti Gupta, member of, and Dr. Aarti Ramsudit, distinguished guests, friends. it's my privilege to welcome you all on behalf of the board of Foundation for Critical Choices for India and Foundation for Indian Diaspora, as well as Indian Diaspora Council, the Dutch chapter of the Diaspora. Welcome to this conference, some interesting and challenging themes. As far as if I refer to earlier, or because it's the 11th conference where we are having, almost in all previous conferences organized by us, we have been almost always celebrating our success stories in light of progress that India is making and the success that Indian diaspora is booking. We have a legitimate reason to celebrate, but this time we also want to be more realistic, as we, the diaspora community, despite being quite successful in many fields, still have a lot to win. Before we start discussing that second part with challenges, first we have to evaluate how the shining India makes us proud and how the achievers among Indian diaspora make India proud. And one of those examples is Professor Joyita Gupta. Thanks again for being with us. Friends, I have to share with you some interesting, while we are discussing that journey of progress, share with you some interesting, maybe less pleasant incidents, at least for the last 5 decades. I came to this country in 1972. At that time, we had to face embarrassing comments here in this country and Europe about India. India being the land of beggars and snake charmers. That was very often we had to hear. I still recall a very painful incident when India proudly launched its first satellite on 19th of April 1975. That was Aryabhat. We were very proud. But the same day, there was a program here in this country. One chap, name was Ted the Brack, stylist. And he commented, India is launching this satellite to see where else in the world the people are dying of hunger. It was so painful for us. But now, 50 years, almost 50 years later, yeah, now the world has to acknowledge the technical power of India, as India became the first country to reach the South Pole of Moon. And thanks to many of you participating today in this conference, we can proudly claim that Indian engineers are now running the digital world, not only India, but across the world. Well, friends, welcome. Please be seated. We will not interrupt. Another point that I would like to make today, and I hope, Madam Ambassador, you will excuse me for that we, the members of the Indian diaspora, are all ambassadors of India. Not all the people on the globe, those 7 billion people, will go to India to see and evaluate how the Indians are. Our nature, our traditions, our ethical behavior, that they can't see. But they make a judgment about Indians when we are here. They judge us. This is the population, the host countries, forms an opinion about India and Indians while judging us. So we have to be aware of this responsibility and should do everything possible to enhance the image of India in the host countries. Well, now a few words about the second theme. Before doing that, also a couple of words about one of the weak points is political participation of our community here. And luckily, we have the member of Senate or the upper house of this country, Madam Aarti Ramsit. She will say a few words to encourage our youngsters to be more, to participate more fervently in the political process. Well, the second theme, unfortunately, he couldn't also be on time. Our dear friend Raveen Baldev Singh, who is the National Coordinator Against Discrimination and Racism. And he once was discussing with me whether the members of the Indian community, the Indian diaspora, that consists of NRIs, PIOs, expats, students, do they not face any racial challenges or discrimination in the host country? Because he is dealing with all ethnic communities in this country, and most of them are very vocal about the negative experiences in this country. Why are we so silent about that? And that discussion led to this conference, certainly the second part of this conference, in which we will try to be honest and open about our less pleasant experiences that our community members face. Because unlike some other communities, we are a bit shy about anything negative that we experience in our life. Well, friends, as this country is among the 5 happiest countries in the world, all of us have the right to be part of that happiness. But for that, we need to address those issues that may impact our sense of happiness adversely. So we will try to do that today. I would like to refer to the mission statement of FCCI, Foundation for Critical Choices for India, that states, because we are more primarily concerned about India, and that states, our aim is to identify and articulate the critical issues regarding India and try to propose long-term rational solutions to address those issues. Same formula can apply to the critical issues related to our diaspora community here. Let's identify and articulate the challenges, and together with the policymakers, we can try to address those issues. And in that process, the National Commission Against Discrimination and Racism, headed by Mr. Baldev Singh, can become a mediator and vehicle for change for better. As my colleagues from both host organizations will share views on both themes elaborately, along with you, all of you, I'm looking forward to listening to them. But as we are very lucky to have some dignitaries among us who will address us on different important matters, let's switch over to the lively interaction with the audience. I wish you all very enjoyable, educative, and productive session ahead. Thanks for your attention. Just one point of caution, as one of the dignitaries, Professor Gupta, has to leave early, there might be a slight change in our program in view of that. Again, thanks a lot. I hand over to our Master of Ceremony for the further progress.
Thank you, Mr. Jasbir, for your welcome address. I just want to thank you for your insights and how you felt when you came early on. You are like a pioneer for our community to establish such a wonderful steps on which others can work further. So thank you, Mr. Jasbirji, for your work in all these years in this country. Now, as you said that due to time and because Ms. Gupta has to leave, Mrs. Gupta has to leave, therefore, I would just say that I would like to invite Her Excellency Mrs. Reenat Sandhu, Ambassador of India to the Kingdom of Netherlands, for her inaugural address. And I just want to say a few words for Her Excellency, Mrs. Reenat Sandhu. We are very privileged to have you, ma'am, here. And you have not only an important position of being the ambassador of India, but you're also managing the relationship, India's relations with Organization for Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, the International Court of Justice, the Permanent Court of Arbitration, and other legal institutions in The Hague. Welcome, ma'am, and I request you to present the inaugural address and share your insights. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. President of FIDE and FCCI, Jasbir Singh ji, President Emeritus Ram Lakhina ji, Madam Anita, Dr. Joyita Gupta, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really delighted to attend the 11th edition of the Indian Diaspora Conference, and I extend a very warm welcome to participants from Netherlands and other European countries who have joined today. I congratulate the office bearers of the Federation of Indian Diaspora in Europe, FIDE, for continuing this important initiative to provide a platform for Indian origin people across Europe to come together to discuss issues of common and topical interest. Friends, Indians have been curious about foreign lands from time immemorial. Just as we all know about foreign scholars who came to explore and understand India, history is also replete with numerous Indian personalities going to distant lands and introducing Indian philosophy, science, and thought process to people abroad. Stories like the Bodhi Dharma or Dhammo going to ancient China to introduce meditation and philosophy in the 6th century are not unusual. Many countries of the ancient world in East Asia, Southeast Asia, and West Asia have such historical characters from India in their folklore and collective memory. In modern times as well, the story is not different. In all avenues of human enterprise, be it business, culture, science, technology, academics, or politics, we see many examples of Indian origin persons making their mark. Today, several large global enterprises are led by Indians or people of Indian origin, including Google, Microsoft, Adobe, IBM, FedEx, Cognizant, etc. The cultural revolutions of the 60s and the 70s around the world had a distinct imprint of Indian thought and philosophy. There are many Indian academics, both in liberal arts and in science and technology, who are thought leaders in their own fields, among them many Nobel laureates as well. One fine example of such excellence is amongst us today, Professor Joyita Gupta, who has won the prestigious Spinoza Prize for her pioneering work in climate justice. In addition, in the socio-political life of a lot of countries, Indian origin people have brought in vibrancy and freshness. They are driving economic growth and contributing to cultural diversity in their adopted homes, bringing their values, beliefs, and culture with them. There are 3 persons of Indian origin who are now heading governments in Europe. In the US also, There are many from Indian diaspora who occupy important positions in administration and policy making, including their vice president. Friends, I've had the opportunity to serve in many countries. When I interact with local authorities and interlocutors, a common theme in the feedback that I receive is the positive contributions by our compatriots in the host societies. Indians are seen as a model community, creative and looking for opportunities to enrich the people around them. The case is not any different in Europe, and in particular in the Netherlands as well. I want to acknowledge and congratulate all of you for being part of that positive story. When we reflect on today's theme of Indians' contribution as partners in the success story, or in India's success story, and what role the Indian diaspora has played, we realize that many of the tall leaders who imagined and shaped modern India were in fact Indians who had vast exposure abroad, and their work in the international arena gave them important insights. One of these luminaries, who incidentally trained in the Netherlands, Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, was the brain behind the Green Revolution that ensured India's food security. There are numerous other examples, and we deeply value the contributions that they made to India's progress. We have had the benefit of several economists, scientists, academicians, and experts in various fields belonging to the Indian diaspora who have come back to India and who have actively participated in the development of India. Without doubt, one can say that behind many of the admirable achievements that India has today, there have been solid contributions made by members of the Indian diaspora. Ladies and gentlemen, India is going through an important phase in its development. It has the largest population and is today the world's fifth largest economy. It is the third largest startup ecosystem with a dynamic young population. Recently, we hosted a highly successful G20 summit where we were able to bring the important countries of the world on a single platform and create consensus on a number of issues. This has significantly raised India's global influence as an important voice on the global stage. Today, India has reached the moon, an accomplishment we all feel proud of. Going forward, the Indian economy is projected to grow at a rapid pace. We are also aiming at self-reliance and self-sufficiency in many of the cutting-edge sectors like AI and semiconductors. It is a time of great opportunities for investment, for business, for partnerships and collaboration. I would say that as a highly talented and skilled group of people, the Indian origin diaspora is at a vantage point to participate and contribute in this growth story. Government of India gives a great deal of stress on engaging with the Indian diaspora. A new program which has been launched recently is called WebHub, which essentially makes it easier and attractive for Indian scholars and researchers to do collaborative research with and teaching in Indian universities. I would encourage you to look at this opportunity. Friends, in the India-EU context, a lot of positive developments are taking place. Many of you might know that a bilateral FTA is being negotiated actively. Apart from this, a Trade and Technology Council has been launched this year to focus on cooperation between India and Europe in areas like strategic technologies, renewable energy, trade, and investment. In order to maximize the benefits accruing from these initiatives, among strong people-to-people ties are critical. I think this is where FIDE can carve out a distinctive role for itself. The story is not different in the India-Netherlands relationship as well, where we see high-level engagement at the political level with the recent visit of Prime Minister Rutte to India, and a vibrant and growing Indian community which can play a significant and important role in strengthening our ties going forward. At the embassy, we are working constantly towards creating more growth opportunities for the Indian diaspora in the Netherlands, in industry, in academia, and in various other fields by forging new connections. Between India and Netherlands, we have strong and multifaceted partnership in sectors like water, agriculture, and health, as well as energy, innovation, and high-tech. On the theme for today, on building partnerships in India's success story, Embassy welcomes proposals from the community which can quicken India's development initiatives and programs. Given the unique positions that you all are in, I'm sure that the diaspora will have many ideas of interest for India. Friends, I want to use this opportunity to congratulate FIDE and FICCI for the FCCI, for the efforts that you take in integrating and engaging with the host countries. I would encourage every one of you to focus on this important aspect, and so that we can enhance mutual understanding and goodwill for India. Your commitment towards greater integration will help to transform us all into much more valued community members. Before I conclude, I want to congratulate Dr. Joyita Gupta for winning the prestigious Spinoza Prize, the highest recognition for contributions towards science in the Netherlands. It is a matter of great pride that a diaspora member has won this award. I wish her even more success and achievements in her future research work. Finally, I felicitate the organizers and sponsors for organizing this important event. I thank you for your attention and wish everyone productive sessions ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your words and your help to share your insight on what India is for Indian diaspora and what Indian diaspora is for India. That will be also discussed later, but now I would move to the next agenda item, which is to facilitate Professor Joyita Gupta. Professor Gupta, just a few words to repeat what Ma'am Sandhu said, that she is a professor of environment and development of Global South at the University of Amsterdam. She was awarded the Spinoza Prize, the highest distinction in Dutch science, which is sometimes also referred as the Dutch Nobel Prize. So that is immense proud moment for us as an Indian diaspora, and for her outstanding, ma'am, please, and ma'am Reenat Sandhuji and Jasbirji, please. She has been an outstanding pioneer and inspiring scientific work in which she focuses on sustainable world. And sustainability, as we all know, is important for the climate of this planet. And I request you all to please welcome and facilitate Professor Gupta. I request Madam Sandhu, Her Excellency, to facilitate Professor Gupta. Please kindly say a few words.
Thank you, everybody. I came to this country 34 years ago. I don't really recall moments of discrimination. I really enjoyed myself. I've had opportunities. I worked for the Ministry of Environment in the beginning, and then I went to the Free University, and then to the University of Amsterdam. I work on an area in which people don't normally give prizes. I don't work on discovering new medicine for a disease or a new technology. I haven't done anything in AI. I've just been looking at justice issues in the area of climate change and water and how we can solve this problem. And unfortunately or fortunately, the biggest challenge we all face is how do we phase out fossil fuels worldwide? It's a huge challenge for a country like the Netherlands, but it's a much huger challenge for a country like India. And for India, it's a double challenge, because if you don't phase out fossil fuels and nobody else phases out fossil fuels, then of course the agricultural sector will be really badly damaged. But also, of course, sea level will rise and we'll have melting glaciers in the Himalayas. So it's a challenge, because on the one hand, fossil fuels enables growth in a country, and on the other hand, it's a big challenge. So how do we deal with this is something that we will all have to learn to cope with. I'm going to use my €1.5 million from the Spinoza Prize to work on a global constitution. So a constitution at global level to write out why I think all citizens worldwide should be treated equally. All countries are already on paper equal, but people worldwide should be treated equally. And we should be worried if somebody somewhere far away gets damaged from the impacts of climate change. So the idea is to work on a global constitution. Thank you. I just want to say I have never really been an active part of the Indian community in the Netherlands. So it came to me as an incredible surprise to be invited to this moment, and I am deeply, deeply honored to receive this memento. Thank you so much.
And we are also very deeply honored to have you, Ma'am Gupta, here. So it is our privilege to have you and facilitate you and welcome you to the Indian Diaspora Council. So, and we wish you many more of such awards and facilitations. Thank you. As you all know, she had a very tight agenda, but she still had the honor to give us and be here and share her insights with us. So friends, that was the felicitation from Professor Gupta. We are now commencing further with session 1, which revolves around the theme of today's conference, which is Indian Diaspora Partners in India's Success Story. On this topic, a theme presentation is being prepared by Mr. Ram Lakina, President Emeritus FCCI, the Netherlands. A few words for Mr. Lakina. He is the recipient of Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Award, conferred on him by President of India, Her Excellency Mrs. Pratibha Patil, in acknowledgement of his exceptional and meritorious contribution to the field of community service. He was also bestowed the Royal Honorary title of the Knight in the Order of Orange Nassau. I don't know if I pronounce it well, Nassau, if I'm right, by Her Majesty Queen Beatrice of the Netherlands. With immense respect and deep regard I invite Mr. Ram Lakhina, the co-founder of FCCI and President Emeritus and former chairman of the Global Organization of People of Indian Origin, to the stage for his theme presentation. Oh, okay. So this is very dynamic, but we are all always prepared. I almost, after I've announced the speaker, but it's still okay. We fully recognize the tight agenda of the politicians, especially with the elections coming here in Netherlands. I request Dr. Aarti Ramsudet, who is a member of the Senate, Kamer of the Netherlands, to give us her address and speak on the theme of the second session, which is the political participation of Indian diaspora in Netherlands. Welcome, Mrs. Aarti, on the stage. Thank you.
First of all, my apologies to mix up your agenda. At this moment, I have to be, while I'm standing here, at the National Congress of my party, at the first row, but I said, I cannot be there, I will come later, because I wanted to be here. Goedemiddag. Good afternoon, Ram Ram, Namaste, Salam Alaikum. Thank you for the invitation to attend this meeting, where we come together as Pardesis to find common ground in this Dutch society. This moment that you invited me is also a moment of celebration, because it's the first time in Dutch national history that a Pardesi represents our voice, the voice of a minority, in the Dutch first national chamber. So we would say in the Eerste Kamer in Nederland. And I think that's also something to celebrate, and that's why I really was honored to be here with you today. And because the first chamber seems a bit far away, I said maybe I should send you a picture so we can share this moment. As you see, I wore an Indian sari because my Indian roots are important for me. I also wore a sari when I was getting my first degree, when I did my PhD, when I became a local political member in Haarlem. And as you can see, my sari, the pallu, has a big drawing. The drawing is a Madhubani art drawing from Bihar. And it represents the peacock of India, because in each heart of the peacock, when you see the feathers, there's an eye, and that stands for knowledge. Above here, that's the party, the Green Left Partij van de Arbeid party, where I'm part from. This was my installation, and here you see all the people who became the new members of the first parliament. And over there you see that I took my oath and also bowed. Just to give you some examples how you can make your identity part of the Dutch society. I will give just a short note because you think you are running out of time. I would like, when it comes to political participation, share some lines of a Sarnami song by Raj Mohan Vichu, which is called Tore Dular. Tore Aki ke jyoti se saber jage hai. Tore Dular ke aanch se saber rehe hai. Well, most of you will understand the meaning, but for those who don't, with the light of your eyes, the dawn awakens. With the fire of your touch, the morning stays illuminated. For me, the light in all of your eyes, being here in the audience, and your touch is needed to illuminate the power of democracy. And it's needed, therefore, to be active in the Dutch society, but also in the Dutch political society. So I would like to thank you and invite you for that, to do so, but also have a short note in 1 or 2 moments of the next issue you will raise. And that is, it's going to be this afternoon about bias and discrimination. Because you all know and are familiar with bias by social class, bias by caste, bias by gender. But in this society, there's also something else going on. Mr. de Beers touched it, and that's bias and discrimination when it comes to color, being brown. And I also felt that, and I would like to say to you, feel the peacock inside of you, because it's normal to discuss these issues. It shouldn't be something you are ashamed of. To give you an example, I'm also a member of, I think, 5 supervisory boards, and I had a training, and the man who gave the training shook my hand and said, oh, I will take this one. That's a, yeah. I gave him a hand, and he said, oh, hello, nice to meet you. I'm not one of the supervisory board members. And I said, no, that's true, because I know my colleagues. Some people think that when they see me, being young, being colored, and being a woman, that couldn't be someone in a certain position. They even think they have that position, and they say they should excuse themselves not having that position or something like that. And I think it's okay to address that, but do it with a wink. Because when you do it with a wink, there comes a connection. And another tip I would like to give is, we have an Indian identity, but we also are mother or father or child or professional. We have multiple identities. And from the crossing of that identities and talking about those identities, you can raise the question or the issue of being colored and facing issues. And also, the second tip I would like to have, the first no shouldn't make you stop trying for your next step. And that's something I also had to face. I also had to face my proudness, that the first time I stepped in to become a senator, they said, no, you're not ready yet. And then I ended in position 12, just to see. And then, after 4 years, I said to myself, ouch, will I try again? Because it felt like shame if I wouldn't be number 12 then, but number 20. So it's also about taking a second chance and not being afraid that things might turn out differently, because you learn from those experiences. So that's my voice when it comes to having vocal voices, not being silent. It's also about trying harder, but also do it with a smile, because then we all can contribute to happiness, as you said so when you opened this meeting. Thank you. And maybe there are some questions or not, I'm not sure.
We can take questions if there are any questions. It's an interactive session.
You need this one, I think.
Just wait.
I think you should wait, because otherwise she can't hear you.
We are getting the invitation to vote, but a lot of time we ignore those invitations and we don't do it, because we think that what can we do with the in a contribution of political system, because we are here for short time and there is no long-term vision. So if you can enlighten that and then change that perspective, because I am very much delighted to see you at Easterkamer. That's pretty much very much big house, and yeah, I look to see more people. So yeah,
I think the question is clear, because loads of people who are not permanently in the Netherlands can vote on local level. And I think it's very important to use your vote at local level. I have been a politician at local level for 7 years. And without your voice, the majority of people voting will decide what happens to your city. And that's, I think, something you wouldn't want. Also, you are well, as a Pardesi, part of a story of the biggest democracy in the world. So I think it's a kind of feeling that you could address, but it's also something important to see the difference. But maybe also go one time to a meeting of the council to see what is happening there. What are they deciding upon? And also, if you have an opinion about something in your street or something that has to do with your children, of your family, you can have influence. Does this give a kind of answer? I'm seeing doubt in your. Maybe I didn't understand your question correctly.
The one thing is, we can raise a voice that is pretty much out there. But one thing which we are not clear, there are so many candidates to whom to vote for and what they stand for, because it's we don't have that clarity of the thoughts.
Okay.
Because the thing is, if I need to choose, then how to choose and what to choose.
Yeah.
Because that is.
Yeah, I think what is available, and I think it's also available in English, but I will let the, how do you say that, the organization know that there is a kind of a scan you can do by a few questions to find out what is your political voice and which party is connected to that.
And
I think
if I may say, we'll be touching this topic in one of the presentations later. So, any other questions? Sure.
Good afternoon. Just out of curiosity, I would like to know what would be the first step to get into Dutch politics?
the first step is becoming a volunteer of the party of your liking. Because at this moment there is a local but also national campaign going on for the voting in November. So just be part. I think every party has a website. You can just say, okay, I will want to become a member. And what you do then is very simple. You go to the houses of people to tell about the story of the party. You are at the market to tell that story. And you will be always supported by someone who is more experienced by you. So you can, do that together. You will have a buddy. And if at first you will be feeling a bit, how do you say that, not at ease, because maybe you will be an exception by the way you look or the language you speak, talk with people and find connections. But because you live in the same city, you will have some similarities or familiarities to talk about. Don't be shy. Be visible and be open. Yeah, that would be the tip.
Okay, I think in the oh, you want to ask something? Sorry, I didn't realize that.
Yes, I think that was a very interesting question. Sometime back, of course, these are our role models. Sometime back, we started even training sessions for budding politicians. So be part of that. It's not maybe not today. We may not go into depth, but that's exactly the way that we will be again restarting that, because we do want much more political participation by our community, and of course that could be the process how it starts. Then you get kind of training by people like Dr. Ramsadit. We can invite her also, and I think there are also some budding politicians. No.
She will come back later in the...
She will come back. There's a candidate again from other party. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can understand. But I was thinking about Nupur Kohli. She was here. She will come back again. She's now busy with the campaign. All of you have. And there was one of those budding politicians, but I was trying to say, of course, that's exactly the task we have as an organization, to encourage and wherever to train the budding politician, and then we invite experts like Dr. Aarti Ramsudit. Oh, one more question. I think I have to clarify the name. You saw on the screen, Mr. Dr. Please, for those who don't understand the Dutch system, Mr. stands for LLM. So that's she's a doctorate in law. Otherwise, so for many people it makes a bit confusing. But okay, that's I have to clarify. Thanks a lot. And I think that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Just a minute, ma'am. We want to facilitate you too. So just Mr. Jasmeer Singh ji will facilitate you. So I hope there are no more questions from the audience for her. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Aarti Ramsudit ji, and we wish you success in all your endeavors and supporting and promoting Indian diaspora and being a role model for the people here. Too many more, and we'll see you another time, ma'am.
Sorry I cannot stay, but thank you so much.
Okay, I'll let those things to happen, but I'd given a long introduction to you, sir, so I want to commence further with Mr. Lakina ji to present his presentation, the theme presentation on Indian diaspora, partner in success story of India. So, let them come, but by the time you are...
Ambassador of India, Excellency Mrs. Sandhu, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Kindly excuse me for speaking to you while seated. I'm delighted.
Well, friends, can everybody hear him or other exchange?
I'm delighted. Too many interruptions, please. Once again, I'm delighted to have this opportunity to speak to you about partnership of Indian diaspora in the success story of India. I'm very strongly, personally related to this subject. I have lived as a member of the Indian diaspora community for the last more than 60 years. I have the good fortune of interacting with Indian diaspora communities in 75 countries in all the 6 continents. I have been very deeply involved as the founder of 3 very well-established institutions of Indian diaspora: the Foundation for Critical Choices for India, the Netherlands-India Chamber of Commerce and Trade, and the Global Organization of People of Indian Origin, of which I was the first chairman. So in all these capacities, I have interacted with them. I have reflected very deeply about the significance of Indian diaspora and its importance for India. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to share my experiences and my views with you. Indian diaspora is a unique phenomena in the world history. Never before in history, as much as 35 million persons have migrated voluntarily from their own country to 195 countries in the world or thereabout, and took very, very active part in them. To the extent of being heads of government, very unique thing, heads of state, members of parliament, university professors, deans of world-renowned universities, heads of tens of internationally renowned international companies, global organizations such as the World Bank, and if the time permitted, I could go on, but let me move further. This community, in the early years we were thinking, when the people coming out of India are doing so remarkably well outside India, why can't the same thing be not done in India itself? Because at that time, when we were reflecting over this subject, Indian economy was not moving very fast at that time. The rate of growth was something like 3.5% Hindu rate of growth. And that is the time when we created the Foundation for Critical Choices for India to mobilize people of Indian origin to put forward their ideas, their experiences, and their financial resources for boosting India's growth and development. Over the years, Indian diaspora has made enormous contribution to India. I could broadly put it into 3 major categories: transfer of capital to India, transfer of technology to India, and the transfer of networking, lobbying to India. I shall now deal with these 3 subjects in some detail. As I mentioned, in the early years after independence, Indian economy was not doing well. When you have to feed, clothe, and provide other facilities for 1.4 billion people of India, which were increasing something like 20 million people every year, that demands the economy to create nearly 10 million jobs every year. 10 million new jobs every year. And to achieve that, the economy must grow at the rate of about 9 to 10%. And to make that possible, the country must invest something like 40% of its GDP. Indian savings are substantial, but they are nowhere near 40% of the GDP. The savings are in the neighborhood of 30% to 33%. The balance of 7% must be made up by external borrowings, but foreign direct investments. That is where the Indian diaspora came in. Indian diaspora has been remitting enormous amount of savings to India every year. They have been growing fast to the extent in the last financial year of India, 110 billion US dollars were transferred by Indian diaspora. For your information, this is nearly 3% of India's GDP. Another 135 billion US dollars are deposited presently as this day by the Indian diaspora, which comes to another 4%. This contribution was very important, particularly in the early years when India was short of foreign exchange resources. But even today, the savings available with Indian diaspora are enormous. To illustrate my point, it has been recently reported that the 30% of the richest top 100 Indians are from the Indian diaspora. 30% of the first 100 richest persons of India are living outside India, and in several countries, they are in the first row, for example, in UK, and where the fifth richest person of Indian origin living, family Handujas. So one could go on and give many examples. So the point I have made is first important contribution of Indian diaspora to India's success story is by transfer of capital. Their contribution in the field of technology, movement of new ideas, new techniques to India, is equally impressive. The list is very long, but I like to give one example. Mr. Sam Patroda, a person of Indian origin living in the United States. He moved on at the invitation of two prime ministers of India, Mrs. Gandhi and her son Rajiv Gandhi, to India, and played a very important role in almost revolutionizing India's communication industry. Before the changes he introduced and their fructification, it used to take something like 5 to 10 years for an ordinary Indian to get a telephone connection. I remember my own case. 40 years ago, I deposited 1,000 rupees for a telephone connection. Until today, neither the money has come back nor the connection. But now today, the scene is totally different. It is estimated that the number of telephones available in India today is very close to 1 billion. And this has transformed the life of the people. life of the ordinary people. In fact, India has jumped many stages of development in communication and technology based on technology, but it has now led on to a number of other factors. I don't have so much time allotted to go into further details, but the point I'm making, this is one example, but in numerous other ways, Indian diaspora, particularly in the field of information technology, have done remarkable work. India's exports of software and related services last year was 157 billion US dollars. And this is growing at a very fast speed, growing something like at the speed of 9 to 10% per year. That is the technology transfer. Now come to the field of networking. Over the years, Indian diaspora working in various professions, in whatever capacity they are, they have gathered enormous amount of experience. They have developed many relations. Those relations are valuable and can be called when in need. To give you one example, the role played by Indian diaspora in the United States in the achievement of the nuclear deal between India and the United States is very impressive, remarkable, and tells you what the Indian diaspora can do in service of India. This example can be multiplied by many times. The story is long. My experience is plenty. I could speak on this subject for hours, but knowing the limits which have been put on my participation, let me try to bring the subject to a close. It will not be appropriate for me to close the main theme without speaking few words about the Indian diaspora in the Netherlands. Indian diaspora in the Netherlands is the second largest in Europe, or the largest in continental Europe, where this Hindustani Suriname community and the Indian diaspora coming directly from India together constitute now something like 260, 270,000 numbers, which is very impressive. They are very well established, highly respected by the host community, highly regarded by the government in terms of contributions they are making. Indian knowledge workers are in great demand and coming every year. So one would like to speak more about it, but because of limitation of time, I have written a number of articles on this subject. So those of you who are interested can ask me and I will make them available. Before I close, I like to make a very important point. The contribution made by India to India's success story is impressive. But please believe me, the best is yet to come. The next 5 to 10 years are very crucial for India's rapid growth and the rapid growth of Indian diaspora. In next 5 years, Indian economy will become the third largest economy in the world, now growing at the fastest rate of major economies in the world. In next 5 years, position of Indian diaspora will be further strengthened. Resources available to them will grow in large numbers. Their capacity to assist India will grow very much. A combination of powerful India and a very strongly organized Indian diaspora is something to reckon with. The best is yet to come.
Thank you, Lakina ji, for your insights. I would like to now invite Mr. Jasbir, President FCCI, to speak a few words about Honorary Ambassador to Bangladesh, Mohammed Sheikh Bilalji, who is also amongst us. We are greatly honored to have you, sir. Mr. Singh.
Well, friends, I have a bad habit, interrupt somewhere and poking my nose everywhere when the program is going well. But I have to welcome a dignitary who arrived just now. His Excellency Ambassador Mohammed Sheikh Bilal, former Ambassador of Bangladesh to this country, but now Managing Director of Common Fund for Commodities, a UN-affiliated organization. And his task is to help alleviate poverty in the world. I would like to request him to come to the stage to share a few words, because he's also organizing some event together with our dear friend Mr. Baldev Singh, I think a couple of days.
Okay. Namaste, Excellency Rinath, my dear colleagues, friends. I'm happy to be a member of the Indian diaspora. As you all know me, I think many people still kind of wrongly see me as an ambassador of Bangladesh in the Netherlands, but I always like to remind you all that I am no longer the ambassador. About 3.5 years back, I tried to make a change, and at that time, I willfully decided to change my track because I wanted to do something that will let me do more for the people that I left behind. And this is why I am now working for an organization called Common Fund for Commodities. It is based in Amsterdam. It is 101 member states, and including India, of course, and many others. The reason that I changed this track, not that I needed a job, mainly because I wanted to do, after 30 years of diplomacy, to do something for the people that we left behind. I think in only last month, you have heard your Foreign Minister Jaishankar ji was saying in the United Nations how India has contributed to uplift almost 450 million people out of poverty. I think this is something astonishing. Not only the uplifted, even the concept of social security is not only the exclusive domain of the developed world. India has proved it. But still we know that there are a lot of people outside our social security and other kind of support mechanism. Our goal should be to reach to those people who are at the farthest, who need our help the most. And this is a job far more challenging now, as the world is now diverting its resources to other things, more away from development to destruction. And this is also something we need to speak out. We need to see that resources are used to build, not to destroy. And this is why I am here to invite you for a webinar that we are hosting from Common Fund for Commodities on 17 October in a few days. It will be a webinar. You can all participate. And we are very happy to see that the keynote speaker of that event is none other than our Ravin Balde Singh. I'm so grateful to you because we wanted to have him because he's someone who has seen both the worlds. He has seen how it works on the south. He is now in the north. And our job is how we can bridge this divide between the north and the south, east and the west, and become one humanity. So please try to join us, and you will have more information on our website, and we will also try to provide you through Mr. Josbiji the invitation, the pamphlet, so that you can join. And even if you cannot join, please try to keep the mission of alleviation of poverty. I say at the end of the day, if my work can make one less poor in the world, I can have a good night's sleep. Thank you all, and thanks for giving this opportunity.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Ambassador to Bangladesh, Mohammed Sheikh Bilal. We now move to the next topic of today's conference. There's a small change. We will first like to talk about the digital platform for Indian diaspora, which we are excited to announce the launch, and which is specifically designed to empower the Indian diaspora. So I call upon my colleagues Vedashri and Amia to join me in this presentation. We will share the primary goal of this platform to foster growth and identify the crucial issues that need attention. So I'll just wait for the presentation to be brought on the screen. So today, as we gather to revive our YouTube platform, which is catering to the Indian diaspora, FCCI Netherlands has got a YouTube platform, and this is to foster engagement and facilitating informed recommendations to the Indian diaspora. So if we can move to the next slide. Basically what we are positioning our YouTube platform to empower voices and shaping choices. And this is a platform to enhance the reach to the Indians in Netherlands, not just Indians who are just coming from India, but also the Indian diaspora. We are about 250,000 people of Indian origin living in Netherlands, and I think it is important to identify and discuss the pain of this diaspora. So there is no channel, and we also saw it when we did our study, that there is no place where Indians, either from Suriname or other places who come and live in Netherlands, have a platform to talk about the issues that they face when they are in Netherlands. And we say Netherlands, but we do realize that neighboring countries like Brussels, Germany, Belgium, there are a lot of Indian diaspora living there. So we want to also Caribbean part of the Netherlands. Thank you for correcting me on that. Thank you for that. But of course, we want to take forward the philosophy of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, and this we want to position as a channel which will talk about what India can do for Indian diaspora and what Indian diaspora is doing for India or is capable of doing for Indian diaspora. So that is the aim of this channel. And we want to share success stories. There are enough people in Netherlands just that we saw who could be the role models for the Indians diaspora, and to help them, to guide them, to take forward, be a helping hand, be pioneers, and share their experiences which can help to nurture new generation, new people, so that the path is not so difficult for them. Because when you learn from each other, then it becomes easier. So that's why we want to provide a platform for any person of Indian origin to cater to your remark. Not just people from Caribbean, but also we notice, yes, financial people or people working in industries have their own places to discuss. But it's the people who come along with these technical people, like the housewives. Where are their issues being discussed? I know Radha is here, who is having the DIVA, the Dutch Indian Association of Women. But at the same time, we need more discussions on the issues and challenges that are coming across their way. So we want to showcase skilled people, we want to amplify their experiences, and we want to create a global wave of torch bearers, so who can show the path to the rest forward by bringing together Indians living from EU to form a consolidated opinion and also contribute not just to the political system but also contribute back home to India where we can, and also learn from India where we can have influence in our possibilities. We want to do it via panel discussions, interviews, explainer videos. So this is to the question which the gentleman asked, that where do I find how the political system of Netherlands is defined? I searched for it, it wasn't there. So we will be creating these videos. So Ameya is going to talk about it and Veda is going to share the topics, where we will discuss in explainer videos this knowledge which can be useful for the diaspora in India, which can foster dialogue and interactive live sessions. So with this, I'll just give Ameya a chance to highlight further.
Thank you, Soniaji.
Next
slide. Like Soniaji explained, the channel is not just another outlet for an organization or something. We want to create real impact. We want to be leading in what we're doing, and we want to connect people who need an outlet to speak up or to exchange ideas. We want to be bringing up a channel of such a type. So although Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is what FCCI is standing for, we would like to focus as a beginning with the Indian diaspora abroad, Indian diaspora, and specifically in the Netherlands. We want to start with the Netherlands. And this we would do, like also Ram Lakhinaji said, there's 250,000 plus Indian diaspora, and there's a lot of issues, questions, and each person would need a tailor-made answer to things, and we would like to specifically give such people an outlet to address or speak up in such a channel for us. And how are we going to do this? So we would have probably sessions of maximum 30 minutes, videos and probably short clips, and things addressing specific answers. And adding to that, we would conduct regular polls with, I'm very happy to say that, as a beginning, this event was in organization with FID, and there's also representatives from DIVA and IDE. So we would like to grow as a community, not compete with people running parallel. So keeping this in mind, we would like to ask questions in the form of polls, and we would like the question was asked about elections. So we would like to explain what parties are there, what parties stand for what, in an unbiased manner, and then based on what's important or what gets the maximum votes, we would like to go ahead, make more videos and more interactions with people in the community.
I just want to add here that we will just keep this video span to be around 30 minutes and not more than that, because people are losing their attention time. So they will be more rich on the content so that it meets the, how should I say, the knowledge that the people are seeking on
topics of interest. That will be our aim. So, and the topics we'll just share with you, and as was mentioned, that if there are topics of interest which receive higher vote, we'll go for that as a first topic to be discussed.
Yeah, as my colleagues explained what the vision and the goal is, so I will highlight on how we want to take this vision forward. And there are few topics, there are many topics of course, but right now we just want to start slow and keep it small and keep it in-house. And what I mean by this is something that really affects us as on a day-to-day basis. One of the first topics that we want to discuss on is the Dutch political system. So we want to demystify this Dutch political system because, like, as there was a question raised that we really don't understand what is happening in the Dutch political system. So we would like to emphasize in this video with various discussions, or just get a PowerPoint presentation where we explain what are the parties, what are the candidates from the Indian diaspora, for example, are going to participate in the Dutch election. And the next month is a Dutch election, so we would like to bring up this video hopefully early in November, so that you can have a good understanding of how you have to vote, what are the rules, regulations, and what parties stand for what. So that is what we really want to understand, right? Is it really close to what we are thinking, or what we want, what changes we want to see in the system, so which party really represents our thinking.
And I just want to add, we will be not biased in giving that information, but of course we will also highlight those parties which are good for, let's say, immigrants, or which are non-biased towards people from Indian diaspora. So we will highlight that, but we'll try to keep these videos unbiased from an information perspective. That's important for us.
Yes, it's more information and you can make your choices, for sure. Okay, the next would be, like I said, in-house, what is really troubling us. The first topic that we want to really address is the passport renewal process. Of course, this is meant for those of us who still hold the Indian passport, and it is a long process, and it sometimes gets very annoying with all that system when you are applying online. Again and again, sometimes we have to go back to the VFS office, so it's not very smooth. So we would like to organize and collaborate with the Indian Embassy if possible. Otherwise, we would like to gather through discussions what kind of inputs, potential suggestions that can be brought about, and give it to the Indian Embassy so that they can do something about it. And then something that, as a mother of 2 children, that's something that really troubles me is the language, that our children are not connected to their roots completely. So I know that in Japanese and Chinese children, for example, they all go to weekend schools to learn their language and about their culture. Can we do something like this for our children so that they can be integrated in society, but then at the same time also stay connected with our Indian roots? So again, here we would like to involve and organize collaborations with Indian Embassy and see if this can be done. And then, of course, the third topic we want to address is integration and the balance between integrating into the Dutch society and keeping in touch with our roots. So here we want to interact with a prominent diaspora representative member, and who can really let us know or make us understand what was his or her challenges that she or he faced during to integrate and to keep in touch with their roots. But when Dr. Aarti Ramsodit was talking also about the identity, right? We have many different identities. So I was just thinking that we can go deep dive into this, and then we can also talk with small young children, like teenagers or young adults at universities. I think they struggle a lot with this, so, and they can have interactive sessions with prominent Indian diaspora members, and then they can also generate some tips and life learning experience that will help them to bring a good balance in the Dutch society, as well as being connected to your roots. And finally, for now, the last topic that we want to also address is the NRI fee structure. Tomorrow, if I want my child to go back to India and study for some reason, I have to pay a huge amount of fees. So why do I really need to do that? So I mean, we would like to really talk and understand with the Indian diaspora people, or maybe some some of the students who've already gone there to what are their struggles and how do we bring in suggestions. Even though the section 13(2) of the Right to Education Act clearly states that there should be no fees, extra high fees collected, and no screening process that has to be done. It also further goes on to say that such an act would lead to punishment, but nothing is being done about it. Probably we are really not aware of this. So we have to see where we can, why is this happening? So to identify the cause and to see what possible suggestions we can bring about. Yeah, for now, anything more? Should I add?
No, I think that's good. At least you could see that we have the catalog of the videos that we want to put on this channel. So I will strongly recommend those who are interested in these topics to subscribe to this channel. And we are open for feedback. We are open to listen to your critical ideas. And if you have any more topics which you think we should be talking about on this channel, then please let us know. We'll open the forum also. So the idea is that we want to bring knowledge. I really like what Aarti said in the earlier session. Knowledge is like the eye in the peacock wings. So each peacock wing has got a eye, and that is knowledge. So this is our way to bring the knowledge back to the Indian diaspora and to also learn from those topics and see where FCCI can take those topics further wherever it is needed. We'll bring those to the Indian Embassy or the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but we will get an idea where we need to work on. So we'll request you to please be open in sharing your views on our platform.
This is also to foster a sense of community, right? We need to be connected, so that is very important. And then I think your contributions are very necessary. So please contribute. Please try to. We will of course publish this, and we will also let you know when it's done. So it will be. Please take some time and give us your opinion and your suggestions and contributions, which will help us to take this vision forward. Thank you.
Okay, so now time for a much needed break. We will convene in 15 minutes from now. It is a short break where we can help ourselves with a coffee, tea, and small things, bites as they call it. So please, we can have this break and we return back in 15 minutes. Thank you. Oh, the sandwiches are also there, so please help yourself. I want to say, please take steps a little more fast, because we need to reconvene in 15 minutes. And yes, it's a time to socialize, it's a time to talk to each other, but that can also happen over the cup of coffee or tea. So I request, please be fast in coming back to
Mic test.
Hello? Hello, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. We would like to begin. Could you please take your seats?
And they can take their coffee with them.
Yeah, and you can take your coffee along with you. Thank you. Hello?
We'll be closing the doors. The doors will get closed. So I have got my team standing outside who can just close the doors. So if you are please running to your desk or seats, it will be highly appreciated. There will be more moments to have a social talk. We'll also have social drinks and some bites after the session. So I request you please to be seated, and we have limited time and there is still more to be discussed. So Ameya, if you could close the door soon. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I hope you had good talks over the refreshments, and now we are going to commence on the theme collaboration engagement and to address the shared challenges in Netherlands. To set the stage for this theme, we invite Mr. Hemant Mishra, who is the Secretary General of FIDE IDC. Mr. Mishra, who is, will also introduce Indian Diaspora Council's advocacy group. So I welcome Mr. Hemant Mishra to give his theme presentation on collaborative engagement to address the shared challenges in Netherlands. Thank you, Hemant.
Thank you. Looks very good, like full house. I hope you had a bit of tea and coffee to get refreshed. I promise you I will not bore you. My name is Hemant Mishra, and I'm the General Secretary of Indian Diaspora Council and Foundation of Indian Diaspora Europe. Today I'm here to speak about a very important topic, but before that, I would like to go back to the actual slide which says that collaborative engagement to address the shared challenges. Now, why this is important? Because Indian diaspora in the Netherlands is not very vast, but also growing every day. Our presence here is dynamic, with our ambassador herself, which just left, experiencing a busy calendar in such a small country. Wherever you go, it is evident that Indian expats are not only working here, but also actively bringing their culture, making their presence felt in every city, where at least 3-4 groups are active. While we come together in happiness and during festival, it is crucial to ask ourselves if we are also united in facing the challenges. I can vividly recall how during Diwali, we used to share a plateful of sweets with our neighbors, spreading joy and happiness. This innate nature of sharing happiness should extend to collaborating on our challenges as well. Sometimes these challenges can be personal, but as a diaspora, we often face issues that are shared by the others as well. And it is equally important to speak up about them and share experiences. Now, what are those shared challenges, I guess? Experiences also, but we are not talking about like day-to-day challenge that we face from day to evening, but there are something more that we even can face in our day-to-day life, right? Cultural adaptation is one of the things, education disparities, housing issues, need of social integration, and much more. Today in the afternoon, we'll talk about one of the most critical issues about the discrimination, and I will follow with Robinji on that. But there are many such challenges which can be shared, right? But can these shared challenges be dealt individually? Like sometimes you feel that in this big country, in our journey to build a new life, we often grapple with these issues, which can be both daunting and isolating. But sometimes you want more help. You want someone else to resonate with you, someone else to bring these issues forward, to be addressed, to be challenged. And that is the need of, that's why there is a need of a collaborative engagement, right? But why collaborative actions? So if you see, look into our members of Indian diaspora, we possess a great wealth of knowledge, skill, and experiences. When pulled together, which can help us to navigate this obstacle very smoothly. And these are some of the reasons. So networking, everybody knows about it, cultural exchange, shared wisdom, support system. We need this in this country because at the end, we are sharing some similar kind of challenges, right? And one of the things which is mentioned in the slide is advocacy. Sorry, I have to adjust my mic. So advocacy, like this is the word that we're gonna focus today. I think many of our esteemed guests are advocate here and running big law firms. So I don't have to reintroduce the word to them. But in the general society, advocacy is very, very much important, right? And today, I will again take a great pleasure to announce something that over the period of time, we discussed about this word, advocacy and representation. Many of you were present in my last year presentation where I spoke about representation of Indian society. And when we were talking about the topic, we basically come up with so many options that what shall we do to represent our society. And finally we realized that if we can make ourselves something visible as an advocacy group, we can actually do a right representation of our society. So which brings me to the next topic, or rather launching ourselves, the Indian Diaspora Council as an advocacy group. Now, so now why this, right? Indian Diaspora Council, many of you are aware of it, many of you are not. But in the Netherlands, over past 100, we are proud to say that we are not only visible in every sector, but we are also doing very best at high level of service to this country. However, despite making this country our home, there are times when the lack of representation can feel us weaker and helpless. After brainstorming on this topic for past year and engaging in numerous discussions, we have come to the conclusion that there is a need for an advocacy group for Indian diaspora in the Netherlands. And today I'm thrilled to introduce Indian Diaspora Council, Netherlands as an advocacy group. So now advocacy group works for the interest of the people at the larger scale. So we are not talking about individual interest. We are talking about the interest, the issues that our community is facing in this country. This is the slide if you really want to know what IDC is. So our vision is very simple, that inclusive diaspora, right? We are here from Suriname Hindustani community, India, and within the India from many different states. But is our diaspora is united? Do we have inclusive challenges? Are we talking about those challenges in a certain way that we should come together and face them? And that is the biggest challenge itself. And with this group, we really want to invite all the diaspora groups, the members, and also the dynamic individuals who can come forward and help us to make this group a very dynamic and successful group. And our mission is to represent and address the collective challenge and issue faced by Indian Hindustani diaspora in the Netherlands. And no matter who, age, group, race, everyone is invited in this group. But one more time, I would like to go back, like why do we need an advocacy group? So we checked in the previous slide that there is a need of the advocacy group, but why? Why it is, what more we can do about it? So if you see, these are more challenges. They look very big if you read them, like crisis response or, I would take the mic. Like crisis response, policy influence, integration, access to the services, awareness and education, political engagement. These are some of the objectives that Indian Diaspora Council want to achieve, and how, that I will show you later in this presentation. But what are these objectives? So many of you were aware of the crisis response that we did during COVID, right? We really collectively came together, raised a lot of funds sent to India, helped them in the crisis. But if you look into access to services, integration, policy influence, we also want to do that. If there are certain policies in these countries, those are not in favor of the diaspora, we should basically bring them forward, put them on the table, and if needed, protest them in the way we could, right? The last part is awareness and education, and one more time I will reiterate myself. Today's topic, the town hall session, is all about the awareness and education, which basically, where basically we will raise the awareness about the issues affecting diaspora communities, including discrimination, xenophobia, and racism. And we will educate ourselves today to see whether it does exist in our society, and if it does, how to challenge it or face it. I want to reiterate also the key activities that Indian Diaspora Council would like to do. The slide is pretty much readable. Unite, collaborate, exchange, do powerful actions, and amplify the diaspora. So unity is everything, right? And at the end, when we will fulfill these 4 activities or objectives, we would like to represent ourselves again as a grievance platform, where anyone and everyone can come, share their experiences, share the challenges, and we would like to bring them on the table. And I'm very positive about it, that one day, Indian Diaspora Council in Netherlands, as a national chapter of Foundation of Indian Diaspora Europe, will be able to solve those problems. Couple of those issues we have already seen in the past, like if we want an international school in our community, or such small things which when you are alone might feel very helpless. But when such group comes in picture, together with such a wonderful organization, I think we can make a big difference there. And I think we will. Now, how we want to operate here, of course, representation is important, but we are not a political party, and we have no ambition of being a political representatives. But we want to foster the political leadership in a way that they should come forward and actually align with our issues, our challenges, and bring these issues and challenges forward so that we can basically provide the indirect involvement. Thank you. Well, it was short, but what is needed from here in this group, I would request all of you, if you're not part of IDC or FIDE, please contact me, Pramodji or Bikramji, and if you would like to know more about us or maybe register with us, please feel free to come and join us. Thank you very much.
So, hello. Thank you, Hemanji. We will now begin with the town hall session on the challenges faced by the Indian diaspora in the Netherlands. So in the Dutch society, there are a lot of attention on discrimination on African descendants, black racism, but does the NRI PIO community also face racism? What are our experiences with brown racism? We will first open the session with opening remarks by Mr. Rabin S. Baldev Singh, followed by discussion and interaction with the audience. So without further ado, let's get started.